Does it cut off after the hour mark with the for the live?
Yeah, 1 hour. That's it. You get the hour, and that's it. So
Keeps you busy.
we're talking about finding another platform where we probably have Greg and other guests on at the same time.
Okay.
So we'll do it. When do you go back to Belgium? Or you're not sure yet?
I leave on June 1st, so really soon.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a quick turnaround, but we start training again June 8th, and I mean, you see all the other leagues; they're all starting up again.
Yeah.
And England and Spain and Italy. So time's ticking for us to get back again soon. So I'm looking forward to it. I missed the pitch already.
Yeah. All right. So, Chris, right before you go, I'll just throw this out to you. I'm just asking you. I mean, in light of COVID and its impact, where do you see football in all that's happening right now? I mean, obviously, this is your own personal opinion, but
Yeah.
it's good to get a perspective from you observing all that's happening.
I mean, I think you can see, one, we can see the essential workers and the essential jobs that are really, really important. It's humbled me as, it's being a professional soccer player, it's my job. But in reality, the nurses and the doctors and the people working at the grocery store and picking up trash and all that stuff, those are the real essential and important jobs. And, I'm just glad to be able to bring, when football comes back again, a little bit more of the, fun and entertainment and excitement and, the support from within the community and all that stuff, which really brings football. The big important thing about football is bringing a community together. And in St. Troyden, you can see that, it's a 40,000 people in the city, and, they all support that one club. And you can see that. But, I think everybody's starting to miss football, and I'm using it as a time for me to get better, but just give thanks for my health and stuff right now, and thanks to those that are really putting their lives on the line right now just to maintain and keep a safe community.
Yeah, that's great. It's kind of weird to somebody commented too. It's weird to fathom what playing a game without fans will look like, but yeah, I guess we're gonna have to adjust until it gets
within the next few months. I think we'll start off without fans, so it should be interesting. Maybe it's like a little preseason kind of feeling to it or something.
Yeah, we have one of our academy players. He joined Tyreek Magee. He's on the IG. Big up to Magee. He plays for CAS UPenn in Belgium, so he's there in so. Hopefully one day we can have Tyreek on and he will share some of his experiences as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But definitely want to big you guys up. You're going to do amazing things in Belgium, and all the best. We will be I'm sure Jamaica is going to play against the US, so it's going to be very exciting as the World Cup approaches. But at the end of the day, we wish you all the best, Chris, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
all right.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
All right.
Take care. Yeah, so that was Chris Durkin, obviously one of Greg's mentees, sharing his experience in playing for the U.S. national team and also playing currently in Belgium. So Greg can join back in. Big up Magee. I believe you're online. Let me know when I can bring you in. I'm sure many people love to hear your story and what's going on. We're proud of the work that you're doing, and we know that you continue to do great. Yeah, so I just letting back Greg back in. Respect, Ballaz. So let me know when you can join in. We'd love to have you on. The stories have been great from Chris and from Greg, and I'm sure people love to hear from you, Tyreek. Let me know when is a good time, and we can connect. Yes, Simo. So powerful. I guess I'll want to ask you. What does it feel like as a coach to see one of your players doing so well, to be able to express himself the way he has done? Let me know. what your thoughts are.
It's amazing, man, because Chris, I don't think Chris is a norm, to be honest. You hear how he's a 20-year-old speaking like a grown man that's been through a lot, right? That says a lot about his parents. You know, as you can tell, the way he speaks, you can tell that he was well brought up. As we say in Jamaica, him come from a good place. Him have house training. You know, he's a good kid, man. It's amazing, and he was like that from day one. You know, from a youth. That's why I was so dedicated to help him, because his passion and drive and his work ethic at 8 years old was amazing. His father pushed him, you know, a lot. I mean, everybody used to come to me. His father, his parents, his mom, his grandma, his grandfather, his grandmother used to say, "Kevin, is
Big
his
up,
dad?"
Ballin, she is big up.
He used to always ask me, "You think they're overworking, Chris? What do you think,
Marvin
man?"
McLean, big up.
So I used to say,
Yeah, man, go
"No."
on, Sim. I'm just speaking of people while they talk. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was saying everybody was thinking it was a thing in Richmond that his father was crazy. Like he was that dad that just want to live his life through his kid, and he was overworking him. And I was like, no, because I'm with him. So I see the kid wants a passion. He has a passion. He has a drive. He has goals. And for me, if a kid has passion and a drive and a goals, you have to push him because he wants it. Until the day he tells you he doesn't want it, then you back off. Because as parents, as coaches, mentors, you have to give your best to these kids to help them achieve a goal. Because I look back in my life, I wish I had that. So everything I do right now is things that I never had. I knew if I had, I could be in a different place. So my passion is always to help. And Chris has been amazing. His parents is absolutely amazing. And I can tell you this, his father was one of the main reasons I am doing what I'm doing, because he saw something in me as well. And he was kind of my mentor, his father was, that always pushed me and said, "Greg, US needs this, US need that. The game is this and the game is that. They need that culture change. They need your vibe. They need your energy. These kids don't have no skill. They're scared to make mistakes." So his father was actually a major influence in my career right now to where I am. So we have that. Chris is not just one of my kids' mentors. He's like family. His friends are family. Anything they need, anything I need, they're always there. So Chris, special man, and is very humbling to see where he is today. And he didn't tell you the story, which I'm going to tell. So Chris was a part of DC United, signed at 16, played with the pro club, I think at 18, never got a minute the whole first year. He came down and played for the Richmond Kickers, never got a minute. Played in the US, the World Cup for the U17s. He captained the team, and after that World Cup, big clubs, everybody wanted him. But V, you have to remember, he didn't play a minute for DC United. You following? All right.
Yeah.
So we talk about going through issues already as a kid. So didn't play a minute for DC United. Wasn't good enough. Went to the World Cup, played as a center back, which he's normally a 6. Played as a center back because their center back got hurt. He was a captain of the team, had an unbelievable World Cup. And then every big club in the world wanted him. Trying to get a deal with DC United. Clubs are offering big money, like big transfer fees. DC turned it down. So as a kid now with a passion to go, never played a minute, V, right? March up the World Cup and just want to fulfill the dream to go to Europe. They wouldn't agree to terms. And I'm talking about big money. These are money that they don't pay for their locals, much less an American. So Chris went through that for a year. Like he struggled, couldn't. So we had to say, "Chris, don't worry, man. Just keep pushing. Do your job on the field, and let your agents and your parents and us just mentor you, go through it." So he didn't get. So a year later, again. So the following year, the coach promised him he'll play some more. So Chris played a little bit more, but not much more. So he just kind of like, "Yo, I'm out. You have to give me a loan. There's an opportunity here that I need to go, and I want to go." So he had to like. His agent and his father, everybody had to like push them. So they agreed to a loan. They wouldn't sell him. For whatever reason, they wouldn't sell him. So he got a loan. So now he went on a loan. He still had to prove himself for 6 months, right? To try and get a permanent deal. So he got a permanent deal, V, so actually when he was at the club, the coach that was there when he went there didn't like him. So he wasn't playing much. They fired that coach and a new coach came in and love Chris. And within 2 months, they signed up their big transfer fee from DC to Belgium. So this is what he's going to already. So when we talk about being professional and want to be playing for the big clubs in the world, and it's you know, making big money, it's hard. It's not easy. So I know we have kids on the line that have big dreams, but you have to have thick skin and you have to have passion and drive and good mentors around you, because it's not an easy journey. So
Yeah.
look where he is today. He's very happy, he's content, as he said, but it was hard. He could have quit, like to the point where he's like, I can't. It was that bad, V, where he thought the club was just against him, and he couldn't understand why somebody wants to pay big money for me to go overseas to fulfill my dream. I'm not playing at this local club, but they won't sell me. It was baffling. But that's reality.
Yeah,
Man.
that's crazy.
Professional football. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So that's great, and obviously that those stories need to be heard. Definitely hearing it, you bring things into perspective to know what you have to go through. As Mo Young is saying, you know, definitely have to be mentally strong to deal with those setbacks or those delays. We always say that, you know, delay don't mean denial. You know, it's not the end of it. So maybe it's just not the right time. But obviously, being patient and be very driven and very and to persevere through those things, and it will come. And that's a lesson that all of us can learn. So definitely, thank you for what you're doing with him, Greg. Continue to stay there and support him the best. And as we said, you know, players like Chris and now Maggie in Belgium, you know, great things will come for you guys, and we'll continue to support. Greg, I'm trying to answer some of these questions in the group. That's why I had to come back on. There are questions that were coming up when Chris was on that I wanted to be able to address. So Big 73 asked about student athlete and, you know, the balancing of you know, football and trying to play ball, and obviously the challenges with that, and what words of encouragement we would have to say to someone. I'm going to take a first run at it, because I think the perspective that many people have is that it's not possible, that you can't pursue going to college and also have an aspiration or dream to go to the next level. Whereas we are living testimony of the reality that we have a degree, and we played football at the collegiate level, and we played the ball at the semi-pro and professional level. If we knew then what we know now, I think there are things that would have been different. But the reality of it, being a student athlete, there's always an encouragement, especially from me with my players, to say, you know, I don't want us to be very minimal in our thought that it's not possible. But I really think that you can pursue getting a degree. I think being a student athlete is something that we should always encourage our players to be. There's nothing wrong in doing that. I think if the opportunity presents itself and you can pursue that football dream and you can leave early and go, then, you know, that's a different conversation. But I think going up and, you know, pursuing that, at the end of the day, I have a degree, and we can, you know, pursue a pro career. I think college right now with the MLS draft and whatever, in our time, Greg, there's nobody that was being drafted out of college to play no MLS. At that time, they were trying to recruit players that were, you know, retired, big name World Cup stars. Now you have World Cup and big national players that are finishing their season in August or in May, sorry, and playing MLS right after. And Wayne Rooney is an example. So MLS has changed, and things have changed where you could go to college in your first year and you know, leave and go pro, or your second year and go pro. I think there are a number of different options. There's a generation Adidas that US have, where you identify these young players and put them in a very special training environment, and almost guarantee that if it doesn't work out, we'll pay for you to go to school, you know. So there are different ways. I would want our parents online to not be so limited, not to shoot it down and say it's one or the other. I don't believe that would be my advice. my advice is to obviously do what you need to do both in the classroom and on the field, and allow the opportunities to present itself. And then, you know, your support system, advisors, people around you, try and guide that process. It might mean leaving early and, you know, being in a pro environment a lot earlier. It might mean while you're still being a pro, you are pursuing your degree. There are so many ways around it. So that would be my response about, you know, being a student athlete. And it's definitely not either or. I think we can pursue both. Greg, I don't know if you have a different perspective to share, but that was mine. But, you know, maybe you can share for you what you think it is. Greg, you're cracking up again. Yeah, so for Greg will join back in. But I think it's very important for our parents online to really appreciate that things change. What we used to experience, or what we used to go through, is not what's happening right now. There's definitely a lot more opportunities. There's definitely a lot more that can be done. We didn't have the right people around us to guide us. And therefore, you know, we had to take the decisions and make the decisions that we needed to make then. But I think there's more knowledge, there's more opportunities, there's a better support system. There's a better support system that's out there for us, and we just need to take advantage of that. So I'd implore you to be able to do it. Not everybody is going to do it that way.
Hello, coach.
Yeah, I'm going to. So I just finish this comment and then I'll talk to Tyreek. So yeah, guys, it's not everybody that is going to be around there, but I think the opportunities are different. Yeah, the opportunities are very, very different for us now, and I think we should look at all the opportunities and try and guide the players accordingly, and to be able to give them an opportunity to pursue their dreams and their passions. Surprise, obviously we did not announce it. Tyreek, thanks for coming on. I just want to reference that Tyreek was one of the players. As I said, everybody's different. Tyreek was one of the players that did not want to go to college. He was very, very clear that he wanted to play professional football, and he was very, very committed to wanting to go that route. And we have to also know the players and how to support it. So, Tyreek, I guess you could share. Maybe that would be our first start. I mean, you obviously could have gone to college. You chose not to. You are very determined to follow your dream. So maybe you can share that decision of not doing that, and where you are now, and just how's life, what's going on for you in over there in Belgium.
Well, first of all, coach, thank you for adding me to the live. And my route, as you were saying, I was watching earlier and you were talking about the student athlete thing, and if coach, for me personally, I don't know, maybe if it's how I've grown up, but I believe that coach, if you want something and you really want it, then I think, and you are willing to do whatever it takes to get there, coach, then I've always been saying it, like, coach, having when someone has a plan B, for me personally, I don't know if maybe somebody else will disagree with me, but when if you're doing something and you have a plan B, I just think that you plan to fail. That's just my point of view, coach. But there's nothing wrong with having there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. But coach, that's just my point of view. If someone has a plan B, then that means they plan to fail. And I always had this one thing in my head, like I wanted to be a professional footballer. I cried a lot. You know everything, coach, and I've been through so much. But being a student athlete, as you said, there is nothing wrong with it. it's maybe even better than like just saying you want to go be a professional player, because being a professional player is really not easy. I've been on so much trials and didn't work out, and I just think that I'm just one of the lucky ones. Like, I'm just blessed to have this opportunity, and I'm just trying to make the most of it. Which,
Oh, that is good. That is good to get that perspective, Maggie. Just obviously, sometimes we don't hear it, and sometimes we probably will look at players and think it's the wrong move they made and they shouldn't have done that. But everyone reaching to where you reach, you have to make some sacrifices, and you are there. So maybe you can talk about that. When you got the opportunity after having a number of different trials that did not work out. What was that feeling like when you were able to say, look, I am a professional and I'm playing in Belgium? Maybe you could share with us.
Coach, I really don't know how to explain that to you, Coach, but I remember when we spoke at the U20 qualifiers. That was
Yes.
after I saw you at the Gold Cup, but I wasn't playing.
Yes.
And Coach, it was the thing. It was leading up. It was the first time I was going on a trial, like close to my birthday, and I went to the trial, I think 1 week before my birthday, and I said, I think I told my father that I don't want any presents or anything. This is what I want for my birthday present. And before I came, I was training really hard, and the trial was 1 week because the season was already started. And I think I trained from the 1 week trial. I trained about 3 times with the team, and the first time I wasn't getting the ball, but whenever I get the ball, then they saw something. Every time I get the ball, they saw something, Coach. And yeah, and I just don't know how to explain the feeling I got when they told me that they wanted to sign me. Because when my agent was telling me, I couldn't believe it, Coach. It was Coach. I don't know. It's just a feeling that I was just looking back, like how far I'm coming from, and like the reality started to hit me. Like I'm realizing what I'm going to do now and the person I'm going to be, Coach. And I'm just really grateful, and I just have to thank God for choosing me and giving me this opportunity to live my dream.
Well, thanks for that, Maggie. For some of us, some of them probably would not know. They think that obviously you reaching where you reach is like a overnight thing, but you went through a whole lot here in Jamaica. Obviously going through your earlier days. Have to big up the process. From being at Santos to being Ballaz to being at Harborview, playing for Jamaica College. So many different teams. Obviously, I played for Cavaliers as well at one point. But maybe just share what, obviously going through that experience, maybe you can share any of those experiences in Jamaica and where you are now. But how much of those experiences motivated you, or, did you feel like giving up? What were some of those things back in Jamaica? Because we know it's not easy.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to say thanks to everybody that have been a part of my journey since the start. I really appreciate everything, that all the fights and all the good times we had. Yeah, so I want to say thank you. And yeah, playing in Jamaica before I became a professional, at one point it was for me personally, it was more good than bad, because I was always like, I was performing, I was playing good and thing. But I think the problem I had playing in Jamaica, Coach, it was like how most coaches allowed me to play. I think it didn't prepare me tactically for becoming a professional player. And I think that's one of the things that I was struggling with the most when I arrived here. But other than that, I think like the technical side, being at Ballaz, and I think being at Ballaz, I got the chance to work on that the most. But yeah, Coach, all I want to say is just thanks for everybody that was a part of my journey and is still a part of it. Yeah, I really appreciate everything. And all I can say is just thank you a lot for everything that you have done for me.
Well, really, really appreciate that. I mean, we have crazy, crazy love and support for you. You know that, you know where your home is, and you know that we will support you. I have a question for you. Obviously, playing for the national team, you
Yeah.
scored a goal against Mexico. Um, um, we have scored some fantastic goals. We have scored some amazing goals over the years. There's no denying your ability, but that goal against Mexico was one that I looked at and said, "Oh, that was really special." But you were in the game. You
Yeah.
played against a very big team in Mexico. But maybe you can just share with us what that experience was, scoring the goal, how you felt. Maybe you can just share some of that with us. That would be great.
Yeah. Coach, there was so much there was so much things built up before that game. Because there were some players that played against them at the under 17 level, and they were saying that they're really good, and I have never played against them before. And I remember the night I was saying before the game that we're going to win the game tomorrow. I was telling them that we're going to win the game because I thought we went into the game with a very good game plan as well. Credit to the coaches, the coaching staff, and everybody. Yeah, coach. But during that game, the game was very, very tough. I think it's the most I've run in my life playing football in that game. Coach,
Yeah.
the Mexican players, they are very, very good tactically, technically, everything. They're sound. They're very good players, and coach, it was just a pleasure for me to be able to help the national team, and I'm just really grateful for everything, coach, and I'm just looking forward to doing many, many more for the country.
We have to speak about the goal, though. So
Coach,
I hear you, but you have to speak
I
about the
don't know.
goal
I don't
itself.
know how to explain the goal, coach, because okay, I can walk you through the goal like what happened, but I don't know how to I don't know how to explain my emotions, coach.
Yeah.
But
Well, take a try at it now. Walk us through and take a try at explaining it. See if we can relive
all
it.
right, I remember in the first half, coach, I wasn't playing good, and second half, the coach tell me he basically told me to do anything I wanted to do, and I felt a bit free, and I started to play. I got into the game, and I saw them when Fogarty beat the two players, coach. The midfielder was tired. He was tired now because they had most of the ball and they were playing and everything. And I saw the space, and the ball went to Power, and I moved, and he laid it to me, and there was the dribble wide, and everybody was shouting me for the ball, but I knew it was my range. I had the feeling and everything, and there was nothing else in my mind but just to shoot the ball in the goal. And when I shot the ball and I saw that it scored, I didn't know what to do. Coach, it was just I got a different free feeling that time than when I scored any other goal in my life, coach. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah, it was very, very, very special. And, your True Blue family, Agent Magnificent, it was one of those memorable goals. And I know you have many more in your arsenal. And we know that there's a lot more to come. I know you're still going through a challenging time. You're learning, you're growing, and I know your time will come. But we want to thank you, Maggie. Definitely going to want to have you on, and we can have a fulsome show, just you and maybe some of the other ballers players. But we want to wish you all the best. Thank you for coming on the IG. Big up yourself. Keep training, keep putting in the work. We believe in you. We're here supporting you, and we know that great things will come. Just be determined to not give up on that dream. God has given you a special talent, and you just have to just put in the work, ball, and we know it will come out.
All right, coach. Thank you very much, coach, and best of luck to you as well.
All right, ball. Respect.
Hey, coach.
Yeah, so definitely, Greg did tell you that we'll have some surprises. Definitely, having Chris and Tyreek both in Belgium speaks to something very, very positive about just what Belgium is as a country in terms of development. Really, really want to really want to just big up those guys for even just taking out the time and being on the live tonight. Definitely added some energy. Sima, you can come back on when you're ready. But definitely some energy and definitely the guys. Big up Baldwin Shields. But I was very, very determined to ensure that I acknowledged a lot of persons who are part, or teams that were a part of Tyreek's journey. Yes, he went to Dunoon. He transferred to Jamaica College. He played at Santos. He played he played at Cavaliers at some point. He played for Harborview. But a lot of the time with us was in the Ballaz Academy and in the development. So we definitely want to thank God for giving us the opportunity to be a part of his development and every other club that played their part in helping him to be where he is right now. So definitely thanks for joining, guys. That was big for you guys to come on. Yeah, Greg.
Yeah, man.
We did tell them that we'd have some surprise guests. Obviously, having Chris and Tyreek were great. And I think this is the point that I wanted to speak about. Is we spoke about being mentored ourselves, but both of us see the value of mentoring our players, and this goes beyond coaching. This goes beyond the wins and the losses. Chris alluded to it that sometimes it was nothing to do with football, but just to be able to just talk about anything. I think this is where mentoring comes in. Very, very powerful for our athletes to know that there's someone who cares beyond the scores and beyond the wins. There's someone who really somebody really believes in them, and somebody really wants the best for them. So maybe Greg, you can share just from a mentor, mentee, or mentoring itself and the power of that. And I will share about that. And if anybody else has any other comments about mentoring, I think that would be great as we talk. Yeah, Greg.
Yeah, Vic, you can hear me good, right?
Yeah, man, you're good. And
Right,
this location you probably need to keep. I don't know what was.
I
I don't know
know,
what
moving
happened.
all over the house. Anyway, so
Yeah.
the mentoring piece is very important, V. For me, as again, is everything I do right now is based on what I had and what I didn't have. And I know I look back and say, if I had this, if I had that, where could I be today? So for me, my passion is to help, is to give back to the game that I love and you love. So when I see kids that have the passion to do something, it's my duty to help them. It's not a choice of mine. It's a duty. So where for instance, Chris, there's a lot of Chris. There's a bunch of kids out there. It's not just Chris, and then you'll have some more surprises. But the key thing for me is to be able to build a relationship and a trust with these players. Know how they are in school and how they're doing off the field. As Chris said, it's not all about football. That's just a part of your life. But for you for us to mentor and help them, we have to understand their day-to-day and what's going on at home, how are their parents. We have to have a relationship with their parents to really help them. So we both can communicate to them on the same wavelength. So these are important factors. So for me, it's a joy. This is what I love doing.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's easy.
Yeah.
I missed the piece about about education and school.
All right. Someone asked the question about student athlete, and just your perspective on it in terms of student athlete and also wanting to be a pro. It seems to be too mutually exclusive that it's not possible. But we did it. We were able to do both. So I was asking you for your own thoughts and your own feelings towards that, just in terms of being a student athlete and also aspiring to take your game to another level.
Well, as you know, V, we all know education is first, school is first. Depends on your journey and where you are in your journey. on the football field will determine what's next. So for me, there's kids right now that say, I want to be a professional player, and they just focus on that and try and leave school behind. That's not an option. School is very important piece of becoming a professional. You know, for me at least, you have to have the high school. At least have high school, unless you're a superstar and you know it comes out to the point where you have to decide: am I going to go pro now, or am I going to just stay back
Big
in
up,
the
Daniel. Long
and
time.
you know, so it all depends. It depends on your journey. For instance, I can tell you about Chris's journey. So Chris said he turned pro at 16, and he was living in Richmond at the time, so he was commuting 2 hours because obviously he wasn't driving. He was still living at home, and so he had a hard time because he had to leave school early. So when he fully committed and signed and started playing with the pro team, he had to do homeschool, which was it was very challenging for him. Because it's different in a classroom. You learn, and some people learn well at homeschool, some people don't. You know, so it all depends on who you are. So it's very important that parents understand your child and understand what's best based on the situation that they're in. But for me, you know, if you are 12 years old and you're telling me you want to be a professional athlete, a professional footballer, and you decide not to go to school, if I was a parent, that professional dream is going to be to decide, because at 12 years old, you're way too young to know if you're going to make it, right? You have to have the foundation. If you're 16 and you're playing on a national team and you're playing in national tournaments and you have some serious scouts and some serious things going on, based on the relationship you have, and you have an agent, and based on what the communication is with the club and how are they saying, okay, we're very interested in this is the plan that I have for your child, then you decide. But if it's just your kid have a dream and there's no real positive vibe coming from any club or anywhere, school is a must, you know. So again, it's as a parent, it's you have to know your child and understand the system and understand the process, and you have to be fully engaged and fully involved to be able to help that child make that decision. It's very difficult for a child to decide. You can have a club or a coach or another parent trying to tell you what's best for your child. You have to do that. But yeah, we all had dreams. We would have left at 12 to go pro. We would have left at 12 to go play professional. But that's not even possible because you have to be over 18 to play in Europe. To have a contract in Europe. So for me, education is very important. But it's you know, you have to have something to fall back on. You know, so it's a tough situation. I know a lot of kids are talking about that. I know here, you know, I've been to Jamaica, and I remember talking to one kid that looked very talented, one of your ballers, and he was just saying, I want to become a professional footballer. I'm like, okay, that's great. But how is school? How are you doing in school? I'm like, you cannot be a professional footballer if you're just not good in school or not putting in the effort. Because to be a pro, you have to be able to be dedicated and put in the effort. You can't just flip and say, I'm going to put in the effort and do all the sacrifice for everything to become a pro if you're not used to doing that in the real world. So it's very important to be, very, very important.
Yeah, and I think more of us need to speak and to share that. I think many of our parents probably don't get to hear these stories. They understand that we do grow up with that dream to play for the country and to travel and to be. That's our dream. It's deep down in our hearts. We want to do it. But there are still different avenues, you know, how to achieve that, and you know, the support that you have around, the advice that you're getting. All of this feeds into how you're doing. Sometimes we don't understand what Europe is like. These kids under 18, the parents have to go. You have to take up your entire life and family and go. And how do you do that? You know, that's just not something that is easy to do. So it's not a situation where you want to throw water on that fire. That's definitely not what we're saying. But you definitely have to see a bigger picture. I've always been sharing with my players, there's a life before the game, there's a life during the game, and there's a life after the game. And the reality of it is that, you know, many of us playing, even at the professional level, maybe play up to 30 years old. You're lucky if you can go beyond 30. And if we're living till we're 70, 80, 90, what happens for the next 60 years of your life? So that's another perspective that we have to be mindful of. And within that, when someone says they're in an academy and they're doing that, you mentioned, Chris, had to be homeschool. Like, depending on the agent and the parent, there's things that you can put in around it to make sure that, you know, your education is being taken care of. So if part of the agreement is that, look, in order for me to sign, you need to make sure that I have a 4-year taken care of. Put that money aside somewhere, and I'm going to pursue this dream for 4 years, because the reality of it is you can always go back to school. But at 17, when you're at the peak playing for your national team and, you know, you want to pursue it, but you still want to go to school, if you don't have that right support and you don't have that kind of communication, you could make the wrong decision, or you could make a decision that backfires and it doesn't work out. So I'm very, very passionate about communicating while we are aspiring there. The percentage of those who make it are very, very small. You know, and so Tyreek said he's blessed, Chris is blessed. And there are a few out of the many that we have coached who have aspirations to become pros and probably didn't make it. You know, it does not mean to say that you are not a professional. I think you get an opportunity. I traveled to Sweden, to South Africa, go all over the place and play ball. And I would say I'm as a professional as I could ever been by traveling, you know, and being exposed. But, you know, we know deep down the desires to play at the highest level and do that. But I think we just have to ensure some of the points, which is a great support system, recognizing that when we're talking about education, we're talking about beyond the confines of a classroom and just a degree. You know, being a learner, being a student goes beyond the classroom. You know, your desire to want to learn and to grow, and, you know, you yourself want to know that you want to learn things. So you're reading, you're being exposed to different things, learning another language, basic things, and even a desire to go back to school and finish school if you left early or you put some things down. So a lot of it is down to the support, and we spoke about that. Definitely, we had some great support system around us that helped us and gave us opportunity. There are guys on this chat, and you know, you guys prepare yourself. But Trevor, Kevin, Wu Young, Darren, Poppy, you know, your story needs to be shared. So you guys gear up on yourself and have to come share it too. Because everybody's story is different. You know, we grew up going to JC and George, some go Wilma's, KC, and each of us have a different story to tell that might be inspirational to someone else. You know, it might not be the same path that I took or Greg took, but maybe it's a path that Poppy took or Kevin took or Ernie took, you know, or Mario or Darren. You know, and we're calling names because these are our teammates and we know what we had to go through to be where we are now. So yeah, thanks for that question. You know, being a student athlete is not something that is talked about a lot, but we believe that what we shared tonight was beneficial to many people. Yeah, Greg. So, you know, I think we had a great time in talking. We touched on a couple of things. Yeah, big up Mo Young, big up the KC crew, footballer clothing, large up yourself. Great work that you're doing. We watch the work you're doing, so big up. Yeah, so Greg, some takeaways. Obviously, we spoke about. You're still there? You're gone.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, but your picture is gone. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can hear you though.
Yeah, there's no picture though. All gone with the screen. Anyway, yeah. So the takeaway is obviously, you know, talk about being mentored, the role of a coach in our lives. The role that they played in our lives, very, very inspirational. The words that they spoke of us helped us to be where we are. We spoke about being mentored by them and by others. We spoke about the words that, you know, were spoken over us and that didn't deter us. It kept us, it actually motivated us. And we used it as a motivation to be who we are. We kept that in the forefront of our minds, that we're not going to give up and that we're going to keep fighting and we're going to show that we are more than that statement that you made. You know, we definitely are not defined by one coach or one statement. And we spoke about our mentees, and we're able to have Chris and Tyreek online tonight. And it's a testimony, parents, of what we are seeing, that, you know, having the support that you have over your kids, having good coaches around, these are products of what can happen when you take a little time to invest in them, to guide them. And they're not perfect. We are not speaking that any of them are perfect. There are many days that we had to get into them and, be hard on them. But, that is the role that we play, lovingly, nudging them and pushing them, but in a way that we know that they're still safe. I think that is very powerful in of itself. So Greg,
No, I was saying it's always important. So, for instance, in the football world, when I'm training these kids, it's always important to get them out of their comfort zone, right? A lot of kids, especially here in America, a lot of kids that's playing this game are privileged kids. So my challenge for them is to really push them and get them out of their comfort zone, right? You have to be able to go over your peak to really understand, okay, am I made for this? Is this what I really want? And anything in life, you have to get them in your comfort zone to first find out, okay, this is what the kid wants. This is his passion. And that's the conversation I'll normally have with parents, because as Chris will tell you, if you're going to train with me, you're going to work. And if I see that you're not liking the work, then that shows me that your passion is not there yet. It can come. And parents, I'll be honest with the parents and say, listen, at this point, he's just here he loves the game, I want to play, but if you say he wants to be the best and want to be a professional, that attitude, that you have to wait until he gets that little passion more to really want to push through. So for me, it's very important. A lot of times, the kids would just come out and, parents would say, he's on the best team and he's winning games. But then I will look and say, well, he's not giving the effort to really be at that next level. He's playing at 7%, at level 7, where he could really play at 10. So that's kind of a lot of advice that I give to the parents. And I think it just goes all across the board in school. It's the same thing. You gotta always push your kids outside of their comfort zone to get them to be the best that they can be. It's very, very important. So
that's definitely good advice for sure. Yeah. So Greg, just acknowledging those that have been on the IG with us. Let's get dressed now. Thanks for your support. Muscle Fitness. You know who that is, Greg?
Who's that? Muscle Fitness?
Muscle Fitness is my uncle Chris.
Oh, right. Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the IG. Thanks, Renee, for joining.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking through. Mark Anthony, my Trini Brethren, bless up my boss. Thanks for joining. We can probably talk about you coming on and having a talk from your perspective, obviously going from Trinidad, and some of the things that you probably experienced might be different from us from Jamaica, but it would be good for other persons to hear that perspective. Hyacinth Simo on the IG, Ballaz V on the IG. Big up guys for joining us.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here without them, V.
Yeah, so big up to our moms and dads, yeah? Definitely. They are proud of us, but we're thankful for them, Without them, we wouldn't be here for sure. Yeah. So big up Valerie and Hyacinth and the two Patricks.
so V, the next thing I'll ask you, right, which has always been a passion of mine and a passion of yours, is what's needed in Jamaica for the youths in football to get them the opportunity that they deserve, and what can be done between us to make that. I know we're working, but for me it bothers day by day. We're wasting lives. Like, that's the pressure I put on myself. Like, I feel like we're blessed in a certain way that we need to, and we must really push ourselves to help the next youth. So let's challenge ourselves. I want to really take that to the next level and have resources here that we want to do. I know we're talking, but on the live, I know people are here that can help and be a part of the journey. But there's some kids, I know in Jamaica, there's so much talent that it hurts to see some of them not make it because of an opportunity. So
yeah, well, Greg, it's great that you reference that. I mean, you and I have spoken at length about, you know, doing things together. We've done quite a number of things. You have helped tremendously with Ballaz, whether it's identifying resources, sending it down. Just amazing in terms of what we can do. And I think where we are right now, the conversations for those on IG is that we are planning to do some things in a much more powerful way, collaborating, partnering. What owntouch is doing in Richmond, what I'm doing here in Kingston, I have to say, I can't say that I'm across the country. I'm just a few that we're able to touch. I can only imagine if I was to be able to do more of this outside of Kingston. Greg can only imagine if he was to be able to do more than what he's doing in Richmond. But if you look, both of us are doing stuff that you start to see the impact that it can have outside of our little domain at the moment. And we don't want to put a limit on that domain. The domain can't be Kingston, and the domain can't be owned by Richmond. Obviously, Greg, you have some other locations. But we're talking about doing a location in Jamaica. We're talking about doing some stuff that we would love to do. And there's a very powerful thing about collaborating and partnering, where we're putting the resources where the needs are. I think for Jamaica, structure, exposure, getting them exposed a lot earlier would have been good. And for those of you who are unknown, who don't know, but for the very first time last year, we took the academy to Richmond, Virginia. I was very deliberate about where we would have gone. I know some of our parents were a little bit doubtful in the very beginning, because why would you go to Richmond? I think first, I trust Greg explicitly. I know Greg and Trevor as teammates, as brothers, that, you know, anything that we were discussing and planning to do with them being on the other side, it would have been a lot easier to do. And their guidance and advice for us to come. So we took 3 teams over there, and, you know, we had a very successful tournament. But it gave what it did, Greg, it gave our parents an opportunity to see what is possible. It gave them an opportunity to see where their kids, if they're exposed like this, what could happen. And it's not necessarily about the tournament quality only, but it's the exposure. It's the traveling in an airport. It's going to a hotel. It's waking up, going to sleep, having curfew. It's all a part of what college life would be. It's all a part of what professional life would be. And the earlier that the kids get that kind of exposure, and I mean, this is 30 kids plus their parents. So we're talking about just a very, very small amount of kids, where there are thousands of kids in Jamaica who would love that opportunity. But we had to start somewhere, and we want to build on that and do more. So, you know, we'll talk about creating a foundation where, you know, persons can make donations to be able to do some more of the work here, for you to connect with your network over there where it's kids. I mean, you came here years ago and you brought close to 60 odd people, families, and they came and each of them brought a bag of gear, balls, socks, boots, and what was old for them is brand new for the youths here. And this is without doing much. This is without pushing and doing anything. So I believe, and I think that's where you and I are at, and we're just inviting you guys to be a part of what we are planning to do. We're planning to ensure that, you know, if there are any used goods, any balls, any cones, any training gear that can be there, that we can get them shipped here and that more kids can get the benefit. I know Trevor does his part in Southside, and he came here and we did something together down at Holy Family. These are the things that we can do that can be multiplied. Greg, I think, you know, we touched on a couple of things. The one is definitely finding a way to get the resources that are available here to Jamaica, and we need to be able to find our way to do that. Then we also need to think about what we can do in terms of owntouch and Ballaz coming together to do more, whether it's camps, clinics. It's starting our futsal conversation that we've been having. How do we set up futsal here at our location, at other locations in the country? It talks about us, you know, finding cultural exchanges, finding ways for the kids to come to Richmond / the States. So there's other of our teammates that are all over the world. It's not just you, Greg, but we start there. And to see how we can be able to maximize that kind of networking and collaboration, and it's to the benefit of or more. There are more Tyreeks and more Chris's all over that needs that kind of push and help. So, you know, we said we weren't going to share some of our plans, but obviously, if you're on our IG, you're going to hear more of our plans coming out. So hold us accountable to that, but we also need you to, in your own way, help us. You know, be a part of this journey with us. Greg said it a while ago, but you know, it was a year ago when I went to Williamsburg. It was actually my birthday weekend. It was Memorial Weekend for them, Labor Weekend for us. And you know, Greg and I, in our own little while, there are tears that were brought to our eyes. You know, Greg hosted. I can share this with you, but I said to Greg that we wanted to get the guys to just kind of just relax one evening, and we wanted to find out where we could be able to bring his family, his kids that he coaches, his parents with our parents and our kids to kind of create that little coming together. And Greg said, I don't know what conversation he had with Nicole, but Greg said, "I'll bring them to my house." So I said, "Boy, Greg, I don't know how everybody's going to hold at your house." But long story short is that we took close to 60 odd people to Greg's home. And if I was to tell you that we extended ourselves financially or came out, nothing. Big up to Mario that came and helped to cook. Kofi came over. Just different people came over and made that day special for our Jamaicans coming over there. And we shared with everybody that, you know, Greg and I started from kindergarten at St. Peter and Paul. And, you know, there's not many people that you can say have 30 odd years of friendship. And to be able to show that even after all the years, we're still doing what we're doing, we still love what we're doing, and we're still friends to this day. And to be able to know that we could support each other the way we did. Brought tears to my eyes, brought tears to Greg, because this is really what matters. It's about helping, is about making a difference in the life of someone. So I want to continue to do that, Greg. That's my commitment. It's me and Raquel and our family. Darren committed here locally. It's hard to be in a Jamaican environment where we want to do more and the support is not there. But where you can help and where we can collaborate, we definitely want to. Trevor, I deliberately never wanted to talk about that. You know, I wanted to just say we played well. It was a great tournament. But Trevor,
as I said, it's this passion and this deep for me right now in my life. It's a duty to do these things. It's not an option for me, right? So these kids need us. We are in a situation, or we're blessed in this. You know, where we are today is to give back to the youth, and that's my passion. That's your passion. So I like to dream big and think big, and I think we have no choice but to make big things happen for the youth. So God willing, it's all about timing with everything, and when the time is really do it, we're gonna do it, and we're gonna continue to do the small things until we connect big and really take next level. I have 100% faith that it's gonna happen. So
yeah,
keep
I agreed with you, Simon. We're coming on to the next hour, so it's going to shut off. But I just want to big up all those who came on to our IG. We'll announce with you who our next guest will be next week, Thursday. Same time, 7 p.m. Jamaica, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Greg, thanks for being open and sharing. Thanks for your experiences that you shared with us. Big up Chris and Tyreek for joining the IG. Thanks for all of those who gave up the questions and the comments. Really, really appreciate all the support, and we'll continue to do this to share the stories. Tico Capolat, email us at info@GoBallaz about the academy. Big up Kwame in Canada. Greg, love to the family. We'll talk.
Same here,
and thanks again for everybody for joining.
Thank you. See you guys next week.
All right, bro. Bless up.
Okay, man.